Well, welcome Schuco fans. This is an episode that's going to repair the Schuco Commando 2000. We're going to start with the pre-war car here, and these are the before pictures of it. We're going to take a little look around, see how she looks. It looks like all the parts are here. That's a good sign. So when we bought this one, we weren't sure exactly how it was going to be, but the seller said it still operated. So let's see. So it's kind of rusty. Some of the parts are rusty, but it is an early car, and if you saw the video I did about the Commando Anno 2000, I'll put a link up at the top for you. You can see the different years they made, and so this is a real early one. There's the bottom of it. And here's some stills, so you can see that the paint's not in very good shape. It might be hard to restore this paint, but there is some bright work that needs to be brought up to snuff. There's a lot of dirt, and there you go. So in the next picture here, you can see the bottom of the car. It says made in Germany, and that along with the metal wheels, not painted wheels, shows it's a pretty early car. So as we approach the refurbishment of this Schuco car, the first thing we want to do is test it and see what happens. So we can see that the front opens, we can see in, and it's not in great shape. It's kind of rusty and so on. And now we take our key, wind it up, and hopefully the motor will work. And it does work, although it's going pretty slow. It needs a little help. So does the top work? Kind of. Kind of. It's probably got a bunch of rust and things in there that's keeping it from operating correctly. And now, does the reverse work? Let's see if we can get it to even go again. Let's wind it a little bit more. At least the spring is not broken. Okay, so there it goes and forward. Now let's try reverse. Reverse works, but slowly. And put it back on the forward, and then it goes. Can we stop it? Yeah. So we're in luck. The car does operate. The spring is not broken, and it's a good candidate for a refurbishment. Okay, here we are ready to take apart the Command Car Anno 2000. And this is one of the reasons why we never throw away any parts. So this old body that I have, which wasn't in very good shape, I just kept it. But what it shows us is that we need to bend up these two tabs in the front to take the body apart. So that's invaluable information. So we take a very sharp, small screwdriver and we pry up those tabs in the front. Just enough so we can get a pair of pliers in there to get it together. Okay, so now that we've got these tabs bent back almost straight, let's see if we can pull it apart. Nope, we can't. We know why? Because there are two more tabs in here underneath the fender that need to be pulled up, and this is one of the most difficult parts. Sometimes when we turn the wheels one way or another, we can get better access. So what we need to do is get in here and bend that little tab up, and on the other side go in and bend that little tab up. So let's try. Take a very small screwdriver. Sometimes we have to bend the body a little bit to get it out. We don't want to bend very much. Sometimes we have to do that to get these tabs bent back. Let's try the other side. So we've got the two tabs bent up enough to get it out. They don't have to be perfectly straight, but just enough to get it out. We pull upwards and pull it off the back. And there we go. So the back could fit into this little groove right in here. So let's take a look at what we have. What we have here is a lot of rust and some dirt. You can see some dirt, some lint, hair, and that sort of thing. So I think we can get this car in pretty good shape. The body might not be perfect, but I think we're going to get this car in pretty good shape. Let's find out. So here's what the chassis looked like when we just took the car apart. You can see it's quite rusty. There's a lot of dirt, there's a lot of lint, and the usual hair and things that we usually find in these old wind-up cars. So the first thing we want to do is take our brush and start cleaning all these parts with our brush, as we've done in other videos you've seen. The grill looks pretty straight. That's a good thing. We don't have to bend it and straighten it out. So the body is in pretty good shape, but the paint's not so great. So we're going to take that brush and we're going to wipe down everything. So when I say use the brush, don't put anything on the brush. It's just a dry wipe down, just to take all the lint and everything off. Don't use any oil or anything like that. Just wipe it off with your brush. Now we're going to remove the motor, and we're going to take those tabs and bend them up straight. Sometimes you have to use a screwdriver to kind of pry it up. And there we are. The chassis and the motor have been separated, and you can see it's quite rusty. And if you want to see how we do the derusting, you have to go look back on one of my other videos, and you'll see it at the top up there. And then we realign all the metal tabs on both the chassis and the body, and try to test fit the body to the chassis before we go much further. And here's an optional step. You might want to remove the diaphragm. It is very lightweight aluminum and it's easy to break, so you don't necessarily have to do this step, but that's how you would do it. So now we have derusted the chassis and the motor. You have to look at one of my other videos to get some more information on derusting. And then we've applied oil for lubrication and protection, and we let that sit overnight to evaporate. So the chassis and the body cleaned up pretty well. You can see here that a lot of the rust is gone, and the motor operates nice and freely. So now we're going to clean the body, we're going to clean it and polish it, and now all the parts are ready for assembly. So now we reassemble the diaphragm if we've taken it apart. And again, you don't have to do this step. And one of the wheels had fallen off, but this is not the drive wheel. You can just press it back on, no problem. And then we take our we fit the motor onto the chassis, make sure all those tabs are straight up. And when we go to reassemble it, with those metal tabs, we twist them. We don't bend them over, just twist them enough to hold it in place. Okay, Schuco fans, we prepared everything and it's ready to be put back together. The chassis is assembled, the body is ready, it's been polished and so on. So let's go ahead and get it back together. So the first thing we do is we want to put the car into reverse. Pull it out, and it's going to be much easier to put it onto the body. Then we take the body and we slip the chassis right into the back of the body. Should fit nicely. Now we've pre-assembled everything, so we know that it'll fit. So then you insert the body into the metal tabs right below the fenders. You haven't bent anything yet. You just put it in place and make sure everything is in alignment. Remember, there's 4 metal tabs to bend. So we put it on our workbench, and now we're going to bend the 2 tabs underneath the fenders, bend them up, and we use a screwdriver usually to do that. Sometimes it's kind of difficult, but you don't really have to press them in that far, so don't worry about pressing it all the way in to make it exactly horizontal or completely folded over. Just a little bit should hold it in place. Remember, you've got 2 more tabs in the front to hold it. So once these tabs are done, you're going to do the front tabs, and like a lot of exposed tabs, we don't use a screwdriver if we can. You'll see in a moment we're going to use a popsicle stick or a little piece of wood. Here we're aligning the car to make sure everything is right before we do the final step. So here's our popsicle stick, and we're going to press those metal tabs down and it won't scratch the metal. And there we are. Only thing left to do is test it to make sure it's good. So there we go, Schuco fans. We successfully refurbished a Schuco car, the Commando Anno 2000. There's a couple little things we want to touch up, but for all intents and purposes, it's in fine condition and will run for a long time. Thanks a lot, guys. So here are some photos of the car when it's completed. It's actually a dark blue, so it's kind of hard to see here. Next time I should do a car that's lighter. It'd probably be easier for you guys to see. So until next time, guys, this is the Tin Meister. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Good night, everyone.